In this video, we're going to talk about 4 major principles to use in order to prevent hurting your back while picking something up from the floor. My name is Jamie. I'm a licensed physical therapist, and I've had back problems going all the way back to high school. And I incorporate these principles with everything that I do throughout my daily routine. It's made the world of difference for me. I hope it does for you too. And it's absolutely crucial to remember that these techniques are not just about when you're picking something up, but it's also when you're putting it down. The first principle that we're going to talk about is what you may have heard of already. It's lifting with your legs and not your back. But what exactly does that mean? So if we're lifting with our back, what that means is our legs are straight, we're bending over at our back, we're picking up the baby, and we're just simply straightening our back out in order to lift the baby up. So what it looks like is when you square up to whatever it is you're going to lift up, again, the chest is going to come out, my butt comes out as I'm bending my legs, and then you can pick up whatever it is that you're lifting. And now when you come up, you're not lifting with your back. I've just lifted with all of my hip muscles. So you want to remember too, again, the butt out part's kind of easy to remember as you're squatting down, but don't forget the chest, because you can be squatting down, your butt is out, but if your chest isn't out and you're all like this, when you come up, you're going to be using some hip muscles, but you're still going to be using those back muscles as well. Definitely going to put you at more risk of hurting yourself. And a good way to be able to make sure that you do straighten your back out and your chest is out is when you're picking something up, that you pick your head up rather than keeping your head down looking at the ground. Now, if we're picking up a baby, first and foremost, we don't drop the baby. We need to make sure that the baby's safe. But if you're picking the baby up, once the baby starts to come up and then you have a good firm hold on her, if I pick my head up, you see my back straighten out there, and then I can come up to standing much easier using all my core muscles rather than just using my back muscles. So now if we're putting something down to the floor, again, we have to remember we have to use the same principles in order to protect ourselves. It's just in reverse order. So if I'm going to put the baby down or a box down or something, so again, if I'm going to squat down, if I lifted with my legs, I want to put down with my legs also. So chest out, butt out. I'm going to go down on one knee. It's what I prefer. Putting the baby down and then coming back up. So that protects my back compared to, it's really easy if, you're in a rush and you're just going to put the baby down to play while you're doing something. Okay, I'm going to go down like this. That is really, really tough on the back. And over time, over and over again, because again, we're taking care of our babies through the entire day. So the amount of times you pick your babies up and put them down, try to count it in a day. It's just a crazy amount of times. One time doing that might not hurt your back, but if you do that 50 times a day for just 6 months, that is a ton of small little damage happening to your back day after day after day, and you're really at risk of throwing your back out.
The second principle I'm going to talk about is keeping the object close to your body. So this counts for both when you're picking something up as well as when you're just carrying something. So when you're picking something up, what it looks like is you want to approach the object, whatever it is, you want to be as close to it as you can. So I'm going to come all the way up, get into my good squat, good posture in order to pick it up. Now, if I don't come up close to it, I don't keep it close to the body, and I stay farther away from it, what it will look like, it's gonna be a lot harder to keep my back straight. I need to lean forward in order to pick it up. And now, even though my knees are bent, when I'm picking it up, my back was really, really bent, and I have to use a lot of my back muscles. I'm not using those strong core muscles.
If you're holding something out here further, the amount of stress that it puts on your back and on your discs goes up exponentially. The closer you hold it to your body, again, baby or anything else, the much more it protects your back. And you want to make sure that with whatever you're carrying, even though you're holding it close to your body, that you try to keep, whether it's the baby or anything else, as centered as you can. If we hold the baby out to one side, now I get it, you have to use your hands to do things and everything. But if we're holding it out to the side, it's not allowing our whole trunk to work as one unit to protect yourself. Now it's a little asymmetrical and you're going to be putting a little bit of extra effort and strain on one side. The next thing I want to talk about is making sure when we're lifting, we're using a nice smooth motion and not making quick jerky motions. So if we're picking something up, whether it be through a squat or a half kneel, that it's not like ugh, to come up like this, that's going to be painful. Or, you can nice and slow at first and then you try to come up fast. That is going to put a whole lot more strain on our backs versus if we get a hold and we're completely ready, now we can come up nice and smooth, and then that's going to protect us. And the next principle is really easy to forget, but it's absolutely crucial. And that's to avoid twisting and instead to move your whole body. So whether it's with the kids or anything around their house, it's super easy to just get it here, put it over here, especially doing dishes, anything like that. All that twisting is really, really strenuous on your back. Instead, what we can do is grab something. It takes a little bit longer and it might feel a little awkward, but you pick something up, turn your whole body, and then you can put it down. So we want to avoid twisting both if we're picking something up from the floor as well as if we're already standing. So how to avoid twisting when you're picking something up is first you want to turn and face whatever it is that you're picking up so you're square onto it here. So in this situation, if I'm going to pick the baby up, I'm facing directly towards her, my back staying nice and straight, squatting down, pick her up, my back stayed straight the entire time. Now, if I didn't turn directly towards her and I wasn't square up to her here, say I was facing this direction, now look at the difference here. If I'm just in a hurry and I go to pick her up like this, go grab her, all that turning in my trunk, that's how injuries happen. And then if we're already in standing, we want to use the exact same principles of turning ourselves square towards wherever we're moving the object towards. So an example is if we are holding our little one and say you're going to pass her off to somebody, rather than just saying, oh, here you go, see all that twisting going on right now, not good for the back. Instead, it's like, okay, here you go. And then we pass them along, much, much safer for our backs.